Morning, Trainiacs. Over the last maybe 6 weeks, I've got a lot of questions about whether I'm still doing low carb. And the answer is yes, but also no. So the evidence to show that being able to burn a higher amount of fat when you are doing endurance events that are anything longer than about 4 hours, i.e. half Ironman, cycling events, Ironman races, it's indisputable that being able to burn a higher amount of body fat to get a greater amount of calories, it's beneficial. There's no way around it. It's just math. It's as proven as coffee being delicious. But what I found over the last couple of years is that there are ways to get a lot of the benefits of restricting carbs without a lot of the drawbacks of restricting carbs. The first one is that fibers and resistant starches are carbs. And when you go into a situation where you are restricting carbohydrates, it's just going to be really tough to get a high amount of fiber, which keeps your gut microbiome in check. It keeps all of the good bacteria balanced out with the bad bacteria, or if you have an infection like I had where you've got a lot of bad bacteria, that bad bacteria might take over when the good bacteria isn't being fed. So how do you actually get some fiber in while not blunting your ability to burn fat and then running out of calories and bonking in a race? The name of the game is to keep your blood sugar low, and if you keep your blood sugar low, you are able to burn a higher amount of fat, and you can train in a way that burns more fat as fuel. So things like chia seed, things like overnight oats, resistant starches, insoluble fibers. So what I've got here is a chia seed pudding. Here, we'll put up a bit of a little recipe over there. What's in this is 3 tablespoons of chia seed, a tablespoon of your favorite nut butter, a scoop of protein powder, a scoop of athletic greens, water, and some thick coconut milk. And I have that just about every morning, and it doesn't shoot up my blood glucose tremendously, and it gives me a lot of good fiber. A lot of the benefits of carb restrictions without some of the risks. So something that I've always done, regardless of my approach to timing carbs, restricting carbs, whatever it might be, is before intense rides, which is what I've got right now. I've got an intense interval bike ride that we're doing right now. I've always had carbs. You need carbs to hit peak levels. And the carbs historically that I've taken were UCAN bars. UCAN is a new sponsor of mine. This isn't a sponsored video. I've been recommending UCAN in our books and as a pre-workout and as a pre-race and an in-race option for a couple of years, and it's just now that we're actually doing stuff together. So I sent a sweet care package. What I like about UCAN is that they've got what's called super starch. Super starch is a very fancy carbohydrate, and it digests really slowly and keeps your blood sugar down. It was actually developed for diabetic children who literally couldn't make it through the night without dying if they didn't eat. So what happens with UCAN is you get a source of carbohydrates, but you're not jacking your blood sugar up. So we get easy, delicious carbs that you also get that nice, easy access to energy without blunting your fat burning. Historically, for all easy workouts, there would be strict carb restriction. No carbs before, definitely lots of calories before, but no carbs. And the reason for that is to keep the blood sugar low so that you can burn more fat. You can train your body to increase the amount of fat that you burn every single minute. It's also an additional stressor on the body, which allows you to get a little bit more out of the workout. But that additional stress, as I'm moving more towards training for health, as opposed to training strictly for performance, is something that I want to be a little bit cautious of. I don't want to give myself too much stress. Now with UCAN, I've actually done tests where I had a continuous blood glucose monitor on, and I tested low carb bars like keto bars versus UCAN, and the blood sugar response was actually basically the same. I've also with UCAN got access to those easy to access carbs. So if I can get the same blood sugar control while still being able to burn fat, while taking a little bit of the stress off my body, I think I'm going to still get the training benefits of a restricted carb approach with just more a carb appropriate approach, and be a little bit healthier while still getting that ability to burn fat as fuel. So for most easy rides, easy runs, easy swims, I'm not taking UCAN before or during unless it's a super long endurance ride where I'm gonna need some calories. But what I will do is when I have a workout that is 2, 3, 4 hours long and I need some calories, I don't have to stress anymore about finding a low carb bar. I can just take UCAN and make sure that I'm still keeping my blood sugar low, but getting easy access to carbs. Now we ride. So now that I am appropriately toasted up, I'm just gonna do 30 minutes. Oh, hey Siri, set an alarm for me in 30 minutes. 30 minutes in the sauna space. So now that workout is done, I need to recover. So now I have a mixture of carbs plus protein. And I use the UCAN Energy Plus Protein. Gets me that nice blood glucose response, UCAN, carbs, and a little bit of protein. I can feel myself getting studlier by the minute. Okay, so let me walk through really quickly what the timed carb approach is that we discuss in our book, Triathlon Nutrition Foundations. This is a blog post that we put together with UCAN. I'll put the link to it in the description below if you want more information. And if you want to get a discount on any UCAN products, you can just go to ucan.co and use the coupon code Taren for 20% off. So what we have is two different buckets. We have a low intensity workout nutrition plan, a high intensity workout nutrition plan, and then a race nutrition plan. For a low intensity workout nutrition plan, all we say is eat before, definitely eat before and eat during, just don't have carbs before or during. Or if you really want to have carbs and you don't want to spike that blood sugar, then you can use something like UCAN, which does the same thing as if you had restricted carbs, but definitely eat. In general, I'm not a big proponent of like really extreme diets. That's why I'm not even calling what I'm doing anymore low carb, because even though it was still like 130 to 150 grams of carbs, people would hear low carb and think keto, and then even take it a step further and think fasted. Instead, I'm just calling it a timed carb approach, because sometimes you have some carbs, sometimes you don't have some carbs. But for the low intensity workout, you don't want to spike your blood sugar before or during. So something like a UCAN bar or a protein bar, or if you want to go natural, like an omelet, something like that. And then during the workout, you can again have those same bars, or if it's a shorter workout, just the UCAN Hydrate, which is nothing but electrolytes and no carbs in it. Coming down to the high intensity workouts, you need access to carbs and muscle glycogen in your muscles. So in that case, again, you can have carbs from UCAN while not spiking your blood sugar, or have something like a piece of fruit beforehand. I recommend somewhere around 30 to 40 grams of carbohydrates prior to a high intensity workout. If the workout is 75 minutes or less, just have some electrolyte powder. If it's 75 minutes or more, then you can have yourself some carbohydrates. Getting into the race nutrition plan, what we recommend is in the 6 weeks leading up to a race, you pick the 1 day per week that is most similar to a race, normally the long bike followed by a brick run, and you make that a race simulation day. And what you do in that case is you have a breakfast with all the carbs. The idea is that you train with low blood sugar to teach yourself how to burn fat so you can get access to that fat as fuel. And then you race with high blood sugar so you have access to the fat as fuel and access to those good sources of carbs. I like to have carbs that last a long time, so I use UCAN. And what I have for breakfast is overnight oats with a scoop of UCAN powder in there. Between breakfast and the race start, I'll have a UCAN bar. And then we have a calculator that I'll put a link to it in the description below, what we did with Omni Calculator that calculates the exact amount of calories you need during a race or during your training, and you just have that in equal intervals. And in this case, again, you have it from carbs. You take fluids in a sip every about 5 minutes at a rate of about 1 bottle per hour. If you are burping a lot, probably bring it down a little bit or switch to water. Or if you're feeling thirsty, ramp it up a little bit. For the run, you want to stick to fluids for your calories, so something like a gel. UCAN, again, has UCAN in the form of a gel. I like to use on a race course. I'll actually just grab 1 handful of Coke, 1 handful of water, sip each, have a little bit of a tube of electrolytes in my pocket, which I'll actually use from, again, UCAN. Like, I use UCAN a lot, and I have for a lot of years, long before they were a sponsor. Now, if in your training you've done the low intensity workouts with low blood sugar, you're going to be able to access as much as 3 times more energy from your stored fat in a race. You're going to need that for a half Ironman or an Ironman, certainly. Like, just the way the math works out, you need to be able to access that fat as fuel, and you can't do it if you're just having carbs all the time. For low intensity workouts, keep that blood sugar low. That good aerobic capacity and that good ability to burn fat then gives you the ability to absorb the high intensity workouts and actually get faster. And if you are giving your body a lot of blood sugar, a lot of muscle glycogen availability, you can hit higher peaks, so you're going to get faster. Then you go into the race and execute the race with the right nutrition plan. There's almost no reason that you should be slowing down or not showing the total depth of your fitness that you've built. You still have to do the training, but nutrition isn't going to hold you back. Now, if you want more info, you can go and get the Triathlon Nutrition Foundations book. We did a book on running foundations, we did bike foundations, we did swimming foundations, we did nutrition foundations, which is stuck at the border because of COVID. We can't actually get the physical copies for our own book. And if you want a full training plan with the timed carb approach, put into every single workout what you should be having, how many calories you should be having, whether you should have carbs or not for a certain workout, go to our app where we include that in all of our recommended training at app.mymotive.com. That is it for today. Still have carbs, just choose your times, choose your moments. You choose your moments when you go super, super hard in training. So choose your moments when you need carbs to go super, super hard. But don't restrict them. Don't restrict a lot. You do you. Enjoy life. And carbs are super enjoyable. They're delicious. Later, Trainiacs.